And we're back, and we're moving into our second conversation for today. We promised that we tell you all about the official premiere public release of Tecuani and Duende. And if you've watched our show before, you definitely have seen Lee before, as he told us all about the process, fundraising, and finally launching this animated short. And so we have him joining us live from Spain. So it's good afternoon for you there, right?
Yep, afternoon, 4 o'clock. And much colder than Belize.
Filmmaker Lee Mcloughlin, we're thankful that you're joining us and really happy to share the big news about Tecuani and Duende.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we're excited to release the movie finally for all Belizeans to see.
Yeah.
This was our intention from the beginning, that we would make it available online so people could watch it at home. And also, if people want the actual downloadable copy, then we can organize that as well.
Let's just talk about this journey again, Lee, so people can remember all the work that went into it. So you started off with a script and then sourcing all the Belizean talent you could find. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so back in, 2018 now, had the idea to write a story that helped to communicate messages about conservation and protection of the forest, and using the folklore of the well-known Duende. And so, yeah, basically wrote the story and then providentially met David Smith in Belmopan, a very talented animator. And we sat down and we had the decision, or we came to the decision that we would, have a go at making Belize's first animated movie short. And then across a pretty long road, about a year and a half altogether of making it, we managed to contact and work with some Belizean actors and some very talented sound engineers and people involved in the distribution, involved in making the theme song and everything. Yeah. So finally, we're at probably, I think, the final landmark for the movie, which is getting it out to the general public.
You did some crowd fundraising too, right?
Yeah, the whole thing was funded by a mixture of donors, international donors, and also a lot of Belizeans who were really interested to see this finished and made. It was not easy getting all the money together, but we are really grateful to everybody for their donations, large and small. And I hope they feel satisfied to see it completed as well.
And what was the initial premiere like for you after, having worked so hard and so long on the film? When it was finally completed and people could finally see it for the first time, what was it like for you? And also, what was the feedback that you got on the film?
Yeah, so we did, we wanted to make a big splash with the first premiere. So we had a big event at the Bliss. I'm sure some people can remember that. Almost a year ago, it was now. But yeah, it was really an incredible feeling for everybody involved. It's one thing to have ideas to do things, but to actually see them finished and completed is very satisfying. We got great feedback from the people who came to watch that first premiere. It was really encouraging for us, and a lot of people are asking us to make more and to what we're going to do for the next one. And then as well, I hope a lot of people remember we managed to take the movie around Belize on a kind of road trip tour. And we showed it, we counted up in the end about 4,000 Belizeans were able to see the movie live across about 30 different locations. And so that was again very satisfying to take the movie into some fairly remote villages even, just with a generator and a screen and a projector. And that was always our intention really, to make sure that we make the film as available as possible for Belizeans to see it.
Yeah. You also entered it into the film festival as well?
Yep, so we entered into a few film festivals actually. The first was the Belize International Film Festival. They were great. They've given us a lot of support, and we were one of the joint winners of that competition, which was again great and very encouraging. Then we were invited to screen in the Nicaragua Film Festival in Managua as well. Then we'd entered into a lot of other film festivals, and then the dreaded COVID-19 pandemic hit, and as a result, pretty much all of the film festivals around the world have been cancelled. So obviously they require people to come and sit in a movie theatre and watch movies, which isn't really possible in our current reality. So yeah, we had to wait for all the film festivals that we'd entered into to decide once and for all whether they were going to go ahead or not, before we could finally release the movie to the public online, which we've done. Film festivals, as one of the conditions, they say you can't have released it generally to the public before it's competed in the film festival. But now that's not going to happen, and we can go ahead and bring it to the people.
And speaking of bringing it to the people, can you also talk a little bit about sort of the subject matter of the film, because it's so interesting to take aspects of Belizean folklore and culture and present it to an audience not only of Belizeans but also foreigners. So can you talk a little bit about what that was like, tackling those kinds of subjects?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very conscious that as the writer of the movie, I'm not Belizean, I am a foreigner. And so I was very careful and quite nervous actually to write a story. And actually the further I researched it and spoke with people, the more careful and nervous I became to make sure I got it right and didn't portray the Duende or any of the folklore that surrounds him in a negative light, or one that people might take offense to. But yeah, I think that after having discussions with a lot of different people, including the different versions of the stories that there are with, the Creole, the Mestizo, the Yucatec Maya, the Quechua Maya, and all of the slightly different versions that there are and have been. And also how the story had changed over time from pre-colonial to post-colonial realities. It was really an informative and educational experience for me to understand more about how what folklore means to different ethnic groups, the importance of telling stories. And yeah, we got a lot of encouragement really going through it. And then finally, the reception when we actually showed the movie back was almost entirely positive, and people were happy to see, the Duende painted in a slightly more positive light as a protector of the forests and rivers, and not like a kind of bad guy, scary movie character, which apparently had come into play a lot more in the post-colonial times, when there were a lot of religious practitioners that were trying to paint traditional beliefs as somehow evil or satanic.
Tata Duende was definitely the source of many nightmares.
For me.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
But and you're right. While he does seem a bit scary, once you start to see his role displayed in the movie, you realize that it goes deeper than that. And I'd venture to say, Lee, for some of the younger audience who's going to be exposed to this movie now that it'll be released publicly, it's going to be the first time they hear about Tata Duende. So their first impression is actually going to be one of someone who looks a bit scary, but actually has good intentions at heart.
Yeah, I agree. And it's been interesting. There's been a lot of focus recently in Belize on the idea of decolonization. And there's actually quite a lot of Belizean researchers and scholars that are working on various research projects that are looking at how folklore was affected under colonialism. And now there's a lot of efforts to kind of change the patterns of education, to decolonize education somewhat. And it's interesting to see how folklore has been part of this. And hopefully the movie can somehow contribute towards that as well.
Yeah. That is really interesting. Now that you think about it, the ethnic makeup of most of the people, or I should say the folklore characters that we're scared of, they were mostly indigenous now that you think of it as well.
Exactly, yeah.
But it goes deeper than that, Lee, and I think that this is a great opportunity for you to share where you want this to go from here, because you entered into this, I'd say, looking at it as another education platform for environmental causes. And then it expanded to being able to show just the wealth of talent that we have from music, animation, and everything else in between. Where do you want this to go from here?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, and like, I suppose I have my own kind of intentions and goals for the project. Yeah. But all of the people involved, I think, are going to be going on to bigger and better things as well. I've actually recently finished the screenplay for a feature-length version of this movie. So this one that we made is what they call a movie short. Mm-hmm. The total length is about 22 minutes. And feature-length movies are generally over an hour and 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so I really wanted to... We were thinking about first doing it by episodes and creating further episodes of the story. But as we started writing this screenplay for we realized it would make more sense as a feature-length movie. So we're kind of investigating the potential of making a feature-length version of this film. The script is ready and written, but that's really just the first step. Like, yeah. There's a lot of money that needs to be raised. We'd need to think about the time availability of the animators, for example. Yeah. We'd have to think about actors and how we'd achieve all of that. And all of this is under the current grey cloud of a global pandemic. So I think we're at very preliminary stages, but we really committed to taking this further, doing better, like writing a better script, more interesting, funnier, more engaging, more exciting, and the animation as well to kind of improve on. We're all learning as we're going along. Yeah. And even, we could see as we watch back this movie that we're releasing today, we can see some things that we would have done better. And so that's just part of the creative process,
Absolutely. I'm sorry to tell you, it'll go out to the public today, and then the demand will be for the feature length or for the part 2. So prepare. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
But speaking of that, and I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier that people did ask you. So now I'm going to ask: are there other projects in the pipeline that you see, along similar lines, or any stuff that you have envisioned working on in the future, similar to this?
Yeah, I mean, in addition to making this into a feature-length movie, which would be a huge task by itself. Like we've got so many ideas about various other stories that could be told, other animations. I mean, once you really get started onto this and your creative juices start to flow, you really start to think about so many different amazing stories that you hear on a daily basis in Belize, or you see on a daily basis. There's so much rich material for movie making, and that's been long recognized by the Belize International Film Festival and the Film Commission. And even I've spoken to a lot of Belizeans who have ideas for animations that they'd like to make. I was reading a couple of days ago that Jose Sanchez got invited for a screenwriting competition or intensive training. And so it's clear that there's lots of stories to be told. They're being written as we speak, and all that's left after that is to actually go and make movies, really, and get them on film or animated. I think what we've proven is that the talent is there to do that, to make films, to make animated movies, and we hope again that the young people who've seen this process and seen the final version have been inspired to be interested and maybe even take up some of the various roles that's necessary in making a film.
All right. So let's talk about the premiere today. How can people see it and where can people see it?
Yeah, so I believe that most people are aware or use social media these days. Really, the easiest way is to just go directly onto YouTube, and you can type in Tecuani and the Duende, and you're going to find the channel that we had set up for screening the trailers and everything like that. And now you're going to find the full movie on there. The other way, for those who are more familiar with Facebook, they can follow our Facebook page, which again is Tecuani and the Duende. And they can like and follow the page, and they're going to see the links to the movie on that page as well. So
All right.
really, if anybody's unfamiliar with computers, just find the closest young person.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be doing schoolwork. But we do encourage parents to give them a break, and I know that we've gotten your permission to be able to stream it on our Facebook page. That's going to be happening at 9 o'clock, just a little bit after the show. So our viewers will be able to see the movie live on Facebook in just about a half an hour. And I know they're going to enjoy it. All right.
Great. Sounds good. Yeah, thanks.
So, Lee, just as we close off, if people are interested in backing your project, whether it is to create something new or to pursue the feature film, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so again, the Facebook page is the best way. Just send me a message on that. And yeah, if people are interested in supporting the creation of the feature-length film, we're going to start to do a lot more promotions about that once we've got a better idea of what it's going to take. Yeah. Like I said, it's very uncertain times at the moment, and so we don't want to get started on something that we can't finish. But if people are interested or want to know more about what we're doing or how they might be able to get involved, then please do just send us a message, and we will respond definitely to every message we get.
All right. Well, Lee, thanks so much for coming in and telling us all about let's call it the bigger premiere of Tecuani and the Duende movie. We certainly appreciate it, and we hope that everybody who is watching is going to take full advantage and enjoy the film. So thanks once again, Lee.
Yeah, thank you to you, Gavin, and Marlene as well. Thanks for having me on the show and helping promote the movie again. Really appreciate it.
All right, you stay safe.
Yeah, you too.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up. So stay tuned.